I used to be heavy into them, like the 5 Hour energy drinks and the Monsters and the Red Bulls. And I just thought it was just burning a hole in my stomach. So I stopped using them.
I got my 2 empties right here from earlier this morning. I am ready for a nap, baby.
Are those beer cans? What are those?
Oh, those are Rodstar, sugar-free, baby.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 4 of 2023. I'm ADD and successfully chopped most of the trees that fell down in my yard, meaning I'm more of a man than Brian thought I was. With me, I have my co-host, Havoc the Mouthpiece, who owes me $20.
I owe you a lot of stuff, but maybe a good story is about the only thing. Fun fact, Glenn, you'll get a kick out of this. Yesterday, when he was chopping down the trees, he jumped on a Zoom, and he gets on there. He got me, and I got Rob, another big dude, and his little, bright-eyed, bushy face comes into the Zoom, and he's all tiny looking, and he's got like a smudge on his face, and his hair's all disheveled. And I was like, hey, for the low cost of only 25 cents a day, you could adopt Chris Louie and provide for him. So.
Chris,
I wish I would have taken a screenshot of it.
I would have thought we paid you more than that. People paid you more than enough to go hire someone to go remove that tree for you.
Yeah, and then I explained to the other caller, I said, well, I've been chopping wood all day. And they're like, of all the things in the world, I never would have guessed you would have said you just came from chopping wood all day.
Exactly. Well, on that note, we'll just do a GoFundMe. We'll put it in the podcast notes.
Exactly.
Help Chris hire some people. Hey, is it Happy Lunar New Year for you, Chris? Like, does Cinderella come down from the heavens?
Yeah, that's actually a good call. Yeah, we're recording this before Lunar New Year, but when this podcast comes out, it would have already passed. So yes, Happy Lunar New Year to everybody. Thank you, Brian.
Did you recharge your crystals? What does that actually mean?
That means it is the new year according to the lunar cycle, because most Southeast Asian countries follow the lunar calendar. It's the year, I think it's 4096 according to the lunar calendar. I think it's 1328 day cycles, and that's why it's a little bit off from the traditional New Year's Day.
You had me at 4096.
Is that 2 to the 12th? 4096, something like that.
Should be pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. It's a bit year. Get it?
It is.
Yes.
It might not be 4096. I know it's pretty close to that. I'd have to look at the exact year, but it's pretty close to that.
Awesome.
And we've also got Frustrated Fred back from vacation. So where were you last week other than fixing emergency leaks at your house?
Oh, yeah. So missed last week. Sorry about that, gents. Just right before we were getting on the pod, got a call from the insurance company, because earlier that morning I had waken up and there was water all over the inside of my master bedroom and like I said, underneath the carpet. So nothing better than to wake up to squishing noises underneath your feet when you after a good rainstorm. So
yeah, I don't know if you know this, water shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's an amazing thing. So we spent all morning. It's a holiday, right? That was Martin Luther King.
Yep.
Clearing out the room. Yeah, throwing things to the four corners of the house. Probably not organized in any way, and had to get a company out. Thanks, ServPro. Appreciate you guys so coming out and getting the house dry and getting things set up. Actually, the carpet torn out and the walls torn out. All right before vacation, by the way. Yeah, so we ended up on vacation and had to have a good friend of mine, like I said, kind of monitor the house over the week.
Beautiful. Everything all fixed up now, or are you in the middle of repairs?
Oh, we're in the middle of repairs, and I'm in the middle of an argument with the insurance company because they're saying that I'm not covered for these damages, so that's always got to be fun.
Always fun dealing with insurance companies.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, Brian, the Lunar Year animal this year is the year of the rabbit.
Oh, something we could eat later.
Bad luck, Brian. Chris, I gotta ask, did you take the shirt off and chop the trees down with an axe, or did you break out the chainsaw?
I used a Sawzall since I don't own a chainsaw and an axe would have taken forever. I used the Sawzall, and I think that was a happy compromise between the two. But shirt definitely stayed on. It is freezing out here right now.
I
Lost
would've
man
taken it off
points.
Anyway. I would have
Yeah,
taken it off
take it
anyway.
I'm going to take it off right now.
No guest this week. Our fourth host, Todd, is unavailable, so we're going to sojourn on without him.
Boo, Todd.
Combined, we have decades of information security experience here, not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for you this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Just a reminder, for our 100th episode, email your Ask Me Anything questions to podcast@chrislouis.net, and we are rapidly approaching episode 100, so we look forward to answering your questions there.
How exciting.
This week, we're going to close the loop on why ChatGPT will overtake Google. Open with energy drink talk. For our first topic, a woman steals time. Next are Bitcoin hackers for a good cause. For our third story, China makes some big moves in tech. And close with our stories of saving the day. Closing the loop this week, OBS is warning that hackers are using malicious Google ads to trick users into downloading Trojan versions of the popular streaming software. Someone on InfoSec Twitter posted a screenshot that when you type OBS download into Google, literally the first 5 top results are links to malicious downloads. This is again another reason that ChatGPT will overtake Google for search.
You know, I actually went out and searched for that. I actually clicked the link in my cloud soundbox. Block that, baby.
Whoa.
That's proof that those malicious ads are getting through Google's sensors or Google's security checks.
But I think it's someone's just either populating the search for OBS with false, right? It's kind of like the SEO type thing.
It's the AdWords because
Yeah.
Google always puts the ads at the top and then the search results go underneath it. So I don't think you could ever poison SEO enough to get your result over the official OBS, but you can pay to take over those top ad spots.
So is someone paying for those ad spots for that's got malware in them? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
what you heard.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
usually with stolen credit cards or stolen Google
Wow.
accounts, phished accounts.
Well, think about it. Who uses OBS other than us professionals? It's the YouTubers and influencers,
Yep,
right?
Streamers, Twitch
Yeah.
streamers.
Go after them and get their money, honey.
Yep.
That's
Or
true.
hijack their accounts, hold them for ransom.
How cool is that?
You heard it here. Everyone install a cloud sandbox and you'll be protected. Or use ChatGPT. Don't use Google.
Or always use your internet condom.
Confirming what we already reported, national media has picked up on our story that there is a national egg shortage with many grocery shelves empty, and even if you can find them, you're paying exorbitant prices for said eggs. Like we always tell you, you heard it here first.
What's the lowest for a 12-pack of eggs that you can actually go buy?
$1.99.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's like $5.50 in my area, $5.56.
Well, if you go down the street towards the chicken farm, the guy that's got the chicken coop, you just put your $2 inside there and you grab a dozen eggs.
Oh, you
yeah,
hear
yeah,
that?
you live down
Everyone
the street
moved
from
to
a farm,
Glenn's
middle of
neighborhood.
nowhere.
I saw the smallest or the cheapest was $6.99, and then I saw I think a 60 count of eggs for $32.99. It's incredible right now.
And I mean,
that's crazy.
you lift, right? So you go through a lot of eggs and chicken, right?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
So, how many eggs do you go through a week?
I do between 4 to 5 a day.
Jeez.
If I do the math, that's like 1 million.
Your cholesterol must be through the roof.
You know what? I'll show you my blood work. No, I have really low cholesterol.
That's good. It's either good genes or lots of cardio.
Yeah.
No, it's the keto type of diet or carnivore diet.
It's got to be.
Yeah. You're not taking in
cholesterol.
any carbs or sugar, so it all balances out.
That's true. That's true. All right, for our opening topic, I know Brian used to drink his weight in Monster or Rockstar energy drinks before he got healthy. A few months ago, Monster Energy won a $293 million false advertising settlement against rival Bang energy drink. Monsters claimed that Bang's, quote, super creatine did not contain any actual creatine and that Bang misled customers about its benefits. I thought that was interesting. So where do you guys go when you need an energy boost?
So quoting the article, Bang denied that it falsely advertised its drinks, said super creatine, in double quotes, is not an important to customers' decision to buy the drinks, and argued that Monster had suffered zero damages. I disagree. That's all I'm looking for when I'm selecting my favorite energy drinks. And then also another fun fact, that both Monster and Bang energy drinks are like and I strongly prefer one over the other, but Todd says they taste the same. Boom, got you, Todd.
We can't put that in there. We can't put this in there. No way.
You can beep it out.
It'll be like beep 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 beep.
Only one word. Only one word has to be beeped out.
Two.
What I don't understand is how did Monster sue Bang and they got paid $293 for falsely advertising to me? I don't think that they really lost that much shelf space.
You think it would have been a class action lawsuit against Bang?
That's what I would think. Where's the help for the consumer? The consumers were the ones that were misled. Where's the relief for the consumers?
Empty super creatine bottles everywhere in my house. So,
yeah, typical corporate litigation. Lawyers made off like bandits. One company won, and the consumer still loses.
I don't. I like to use pre-workout stuff, but I try and stay away from the energy drinks. I don't think they're good for you. I used to be heavy into them, like the 5-hour energy drinks and the Monsters and the Red Bulls, and I just saw that it was just burning a hole in my stomach, so I stopped using them.
I got my 2 empties right here from earlier this morning. I am ready for a nap, baby.
Are those beer cans? What are those?
No, those are Rockstar, sugar-free, baby.
Yeah, I usually go for the sugar-free Red Bull in the 8-ounce cans, not the tall boys like Brian drinks.
Yeah, but you prefer them with vodka inside of it, so.
Yeah, not during the day, though. Not during the day. And then I got my espresso machine that I use a lot for that caffeine boost.
Rockstar is my favorite, then probably Red Bull. Monster doesn't even show up in my top list of 100 things to drink for energy. And it's not even energy. I don't get energy from energy drinks. I just love how it tastes.
Yeah, same. I looked at the nutrition label of a sugar-free Monster. It was like this white, opaque drink. And it had like 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it. So even though it was sugar-free, it had like half of your daily allotment of sodium in this, quote, sugar-free energy drink. So I don't know how to get away with things like that.
Isn't that how they trick the taste buds? Is like the overdose of sodium tricks it into thinking that it's sweet instead of whatever salt should taste like.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, but I thought that was outrageous that there's just so much sodium in this sugar-free drink. Like at one point you got to balance out. Do I want the high blood pressure or do I want the diabetes, or just reach for that glass of water? All right, for our first topic, if you think you're being tracked, it's because you are. A woman in Canada lost her wrongful termination lawsuit and even had to pay back her employer for time she billed for, but did not actually work. This woman was working as an accountant or bookkeeper as a contractor for a company and billed the company for the actual hours spent working. Well, the hours were racking up and the work was subpar, so the company decided to launch an investigation. They installed some spyware on her company-issued computer and started tracking how she was spending her time. When they gathered enough evidence and confronted her, she claimed she printed the documents and were working on them offline. Well, the spyware actually tracks when the documents were printed, and there was nothing ever printed, and even if she did, she was required to upload a copy of the offline work she did. Just a classic case of overbilling and employees messing around on company time. This time, proven with spyware installed on the company computer.
So did you guys hear the audio clip from that?
I did not.
Let me find it for you guys real quick.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately. I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Good one.
Oh, that's terrific, Peter.
There you go.
Is that The Office?
That was Office
Office
Space,
Space
yeah.
clip.
Yeah, Office Space.
I think Homegirl needs to lawyer up. Sounds to me, and I'm not like a tech person at all. Classic case of BYOD. She was working from her own computer. That's the reason why it looked like she wasn't being very productive. She's innocent until proven guilty. Tell me I'm wrong.
I think she's been proven guilty already. A little late.
That's why she got to lawyer up, man. I'm telling you. She's gonna listen to this.
They checked the logs and everything. It says she was like streaming Netflix and stuff on a company issued computer.
God,
if you don't want her streaming Netflix, then why do you let her? Come on. That's like, that's entrapment. That is entrapment. It's a big word that I don't know if I'm using right, but it's entrapment.
Allowing me to access Netflix, it's like I had to stream in Netflix instead of working.
I mean,
when do you guys consider overreach when they're installing that kind of stuff on your machine? It's like, how far is too much? Like, I get corporate security, I get all these other things, but what do you guys consider overreach when it gets to that?
Keystroke logger, remote camera, turn on assistance, biometric. Oh, I'm just talking about TikTok.
It's like that Equifax story we did a while ago where Equifax like outed a bunch of employees working more than one job using their in-house software. It's if they have probable cause, like this lady was constantly missing deadlines and they suspected she was overbilling. I think if it's probable cause and it's a corporate-owned device, then you have the right to launch an investigation. But if it's Joe Schmo doing his job, getting his work done, I don't think you need keyloggers and time tracking software and mouse jiggler detection and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's probably more of the extreme than anything else, right? This is probably the 1% of the employees out there, right?
Honestly, like how rough are times at this company's like, damn it, we need to go recoup probably minimum wage employee over here. I have no idea. But they're like, we need to get that $121 back.
Could you imagine if this was an executive?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Well, I think the story was, I think they just let her go. So they said, we caught you stealing, goodbye. And I think that was that. Then the woman initiated a wrongful termination lawsuit against the employer. And then the employer's like, oh, well, if you want to play that game. And then that's how she ended up owing. So I think if she left it alone, she would have been fine. But since she had to poke the bear, then that's when they came after her.
Yeah, could you imagine the records that came out of that? If you had to pull up all the proxy logs associated to the things they were doing on the computer, or key logging or whatever they had, that could be pretty interesting. Pretty fun from a forensic.
I wonder if
standpoint.
she pulled the Shaggy defense. No, wasn't me.
Yeah,
it wasn't me. Man, we've got these logs. Are you logging it? It wasn't me.
Nope, wasn't me. But it's your ID. Still wasn't me.
My password was stolen. Yeah. They don't do two-factor authentication. I guarantee you there was no two-factor authentication here. She could have won this in battle. If you're listening, we'll get you out of this one.
There's no we in this. I'm not defending someone who steals time.
I think it's debatable. I don't
be
think she stole anything.
Innocent until proven guilty, right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
For our second topic, you guys know my two favorite types of stories.
Pepsi and Cheetos.
Oh,
wait, no. Hack the hacker and doing stupid things.
Exactly. Stupid criminals and hacking the hacker.
Florida man.
Look at that. 50%. I'm batting well today.
Well, this one falls in the latter. A Ukrainian hacker residing in the U.S. hacked into a Russian dark market named Solaris and stole a bunch of Bitcoin. These dark markets sell stolen data, drugs, guns, murder for hire, hacking software, and the like. The Ukrainian hacker took credit for the hack and donated all of the stolen funds to charity benefiting the Ukrainian people affected by the ongoing war. The darknet marketplace had ties to the Russian Killnet group, which kicked into high gear after their invasion of Ukraine to perform offensive hacking operations against Ukraine, so there's definitely no love lost for taking down these scumbags. The Ukrainian hacker, backed by his team at Hold Security, managed to gain access to administrator accounts, the back-end web infrastructure, and the master Bitcoin wallet used for all customer and seller deposits. They managed to get about $60,000 and donated it all to Enjoying Life, a charity to benefit victims in Ukraine.
What a terrible charity name for a horrible thing that's going on. Like,
Enjoying
Life.
Life.
Victims of war, enjoying life. We got your back.
So wait. I don't get it. Like this is the underground for a bunch of murder for hire, guns, weapons, drugs, and all they could get out was $60,000. It's like there's got to be more than that inside there, right? It's got to be a treasure trove of money.
I think this is a hype story to get people back on the old Bitcoin wagon again.
Yeah,
Cryptocurrency's fake, everyone.
Again. Crypto is mooning right now.
Is it?
I don't know. Maybe that 60,000 was what it was worth today, and it could have been worth more like 5 years ago.
So I think we need to give our Ukrainian hacker a fun nickname. I think he should be known as the AAGUH, all around good Ukrainian hacker guy. What do you guys think?
There you go. Yeah, that's a good nickname.
I love that they said that he took control of the internet infrastructure. I'm like, sounds like he just got into a router. I don't know. and then you look into it a little bit further. It's the website, and then you're like, what kind of like rudimentary?
He just popped the web shell, pretty much.
Yeah, it's probably like PHP nuke, something that hasn't been patched in a decade. So leave it up to dumb people. Joking aside, I said it's a terrible charity name, but at least he did give it to charity. I probably would have kept it.
The article said that the wallet that's used to keep the seller and the seller and buyer deposits, it changes hands a lot, and there's frequent deposits and withdrawals. So I think they just waited until it peaked at 60,000 because there's a lot of transactions going on. So there's always money going in, always money coming out. So they just tried to pick a time where they thought they could get the most and remain undetected and siphon that off to charity.
Good for him. Bad for them.
Yeah, tough time to be a Russian dark market right now. Everyone's coming after you.
It's a tough time to be in Russia at all. Especially if you're a dude. You were going to die. I was listening to another podcast, and they're talking about, like, historically, like, Russia isn't very sophisticated when it comes to, like, provoking war and doing, like, stuff. So when it comes to, like, invading Ukraine, they don't want to nuke it because they actually want to consume the land because they need to. And so their only thing that they can do is just throw bodies at it. So to date, they've lost 100,000 soldiers. And I think they'll probably throw the towel in at 500,000 if history's taught us a lesson, which is wild.
The stat I heard, which was pretty crazy, and it backs up what you said, Brian, it says that in less than a year, Russia has lost more men and material than the U.S. has lost since the end of World War II. Something crazy like that. And, it might even go back further, but even then, that's a lot. You had Vietnam, you had Korea, you had Desert Storm 2 times, you had all these other overseas conflicts, but it pales in comparison to what Russia has already lost.
There's a comedian that talks about, like, he's walking around, like, pretend, I don't know who he is, like somebody of not a huge stature that we all know, whatever, this middle-aged white guy, right? Built like a bag of mashed potatoes. He says, and he's walking around like the mean streets in New York. Someone comes up to him, like he's in the questionable side. He'll always respond with, "You do not know who you're talking with." Like he'll like throw out the old Russian accent. Because rest assured, like if you're walking around and try to pick a fight with a Russian, you probably think twice about that. No?
Does
Yes?
the Russian sound Austrian? Because that sounded a lot like your Arnold accent.
Hey, maybe, maybe not. I have no idea. I didn't think this one through.
Is that the John Wick background there with the Baba Ganoush?
Baba Yaga, you
Baba
mean?
Yaga.
Baba Ganoush is a
Baba
dish.
Ganoush.
That's food.
Baba
Yaga.
Yaga. Yeah.
There we go. Let's change it up.
Yeah.
Now I'm in New York.
The other crazy stat was that there's a YouTube video, and they do all these statistics from World War II, and they show a scale that said U.S. lost 50,000 people, UK lost 70,000 people, Germany lost 100,000 people. And then when they get to Russia, because it's building a bar graph,
Mhm.
it's like you have to zoom way out to be able to see how many people Russia lost during World War II. I'll link it through. It's really interesting. But to your point, Brian, they just literally threw bodies at the problem, hoping that would solve it.
Do you guys know why they're actually doing this whole invasion?
Yeah, they're trying to bring back Ukraine back into the mother Russia fold. And so they're saying that there's people that are there that are ethnic Russians that are being mistreated. So that's my understanding, but we know it's all about territory and land, right? Because technically without it all started with Crimea. Without the Ukraine access, they actually don't have access to a lot of water or open water.
Yeah.
The port in the Black Sea.
Yeah.
So the rumor is Russia is not going to make it past the year 2050 to 2070. Like they're going to lose anyways. So this is kind of last ditch effort of like, hey, if we're going to go out, like let's go out on our terms as opposed to
blaze of glory.
Yeah, blaze of glory. Kind of wild.
Yeah.
Very wild.
All right, for our third topic,
You're supposed to say on a blaze of glory, we'll change the subject. I'm not going to.
Since we said a blaze of glory, for our third topic, in a troubling new trend, the Chinese government, the CCP, has taken a minority stake in two Chinese companies with what they are calling golden shares. The Chinese government buys these golden shares, which represent about 1% of the shares outstanding, but gives them a board seat and veto power privileges. These are similar to the founders' shares or super shares that CEOs like Mark Zuckerberg have, which mean he has less than 50% of the company, but he owns more than 50% of the votes. A lot of founders do that so they can retain control of their company without owning a majority of the company. The two latest companies forced to sell these golden shares to the Chinese government are Alibaba and Tencent, both well-known Chinese companies struggling to establish a presence here in the U.S. The move is viewed as a power play where Beijing is attempting to control the media and narrative in China now that Xi Jinping has secured yet another 5-year term as president.
What do you mean attempting? They're highly successful at controlling.
Yeah, I mean,
It's true.
I think there's a story that Jack Ma has not been in China for the last couple of years. He's escaped out. He's hiding somewhere in another country, right?
Yeah, he just, for 9 months, he just disappeared. Nobody knew where he was, if he was alive. He literally disappeared for 9 months, and he just popped up somewhere.
Yeah.
Arby's 5 for 5 sale. That's where he's at. He's like, we got the meats.
Yeah, he came here, and he's running an Arby's.
Yeah, I think he literally walked across the Great Wall of China just to get out. So,
did you know, to own an Arby's, all you have to do is just sleep in the trash can next to it, and then you become the owner.
There goes that sponsorship, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Oh,
I actually like Arby's. So.
Tencent has a film unit and a game studio. They took a minority stake in my wife's company, and there have been more investments from Tencent in U.S. films. I noticed an interesting trend in U.S. movies where the Asian actors were getting portrayed more as intelligent characters instead of the awkward hacker living in the basement or the kung fu master.
Guys, answered this question. Who said the most terrifying words? I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
That's Ronald Reagan.
That is Ronald Reagan. I don't know, guys. I think, if anything, always trust the Chinese government. My social credit score just went through the roof.
Yeah, that's definitely a troubling trend. I think so Tencent and Alibaba both own social media companies, and I think it's a move where they don't want to look like they're outright censoring things. They want to slowly influence things, and I think this is one way that they can do that. Because if it's too obvious they're censoring, then it'll be obvious to everybody. But if they start slightly changing the narrative over time, then I think they can start swaying people.
Well, Tencent owns Riot Games, right? Riot Games has League of Legends.
Yes, that's correct.
Slowly changing, and that happened many years ago. So
yeah, I think it was the last Mission Impossible movie. I think it was Fallout, where they actually had like a decent Asian character in it. And then at the end of the credits, it said this movie was partially funded by Tencent.
Is Tencent like a friend of 50 Cent? Like a nephew? No?
Are we going off topic here again?
Tencent. That's his kid. 50 Cent's kid. Tencent.
This is Asian kid.
That's all I had for prep materials for that story. That's all I had, guys. Sorry.
Just something to keep an eye out. And if something happens, you heard it here first. All right, and since Brian tried to get someone else to say something for our last topic, and it will be a rotating topic every week, this week we're going to talk about a time you got somebody out of a jam. Just last night, a mutual friend of ours messages me out of the blue late at night and asks if I'm up and that he needs help. He sounds desperate.
Oh, you're in trouble, Chris. He said a mutual friend of ours. Oh, go on.
He sounds desperate and needs money. At first, I thought someone stole his phone or hijacked his account because he was messaging me through an app that we normally don't communicate over, and it had all the red flags for a scam. But his phone number was correct, and he explained that he got himself into a tough situation and needed money that instant, or physical violence would be coming his way. I challenged him on a couple things that only he would know, and I actually called him, and yes, it was indeed him in a jam. So I sent him the money, he got out of said tough situation, and made good on his word to pay me back the next day. So do you guys have any stories of coming in clutch and saving someone's skin?
I'm sure Glenn does, man. Homeboy was in the Army.
Not like that. Friend of mine, or actually a friend of my daughter, she was at the gas station, car was stuck. Car wouldn't start, and I happened to have a battery jumper in my car and got her started and got her on her way. I could only imagine, someone helping my daughter out, being nice enough to help my daughter out if they were stuck on the side of the road. So I felt like
Pay it forward. Yeah.
Boring.
Sorry.
What a great story, Glenn. Wow. But on the flip side, I'm like a fair weather friend. Like, don't call me if you need me. Kind of like, invite me to things, just know that I'm not going to show up, is the kind of mantra that I have. But no, I'm just kidding. So I do have a story to share with you guys. It was 1996, fresh out of high school. I get a job as a limousine driver. I go to this lady's house. I pick her up. It is love at first sight. Like, head over heels for her, right? Anyways, make small talk, going to the airport, drop her off, and as she's walking, I can kind of see her. She leaves her suitcase in the ground, and I'm like, crap. Like, I don't think she realized what she was doing. She's going through like the pretend TSA back then. So I jump out of the limo, I run down, I get the little suitcase, and I try to catch up to her, but I miss her. Like, I just can't get to her in time. So I go back to my house. I'm telling my friend, my roommate, I was like, dude, we got to, like, get this back. She's like, the love of my life, right? And he's like, well, what's her name? I was like, I can only remember her first name. He was like, Mary. Let's check the luggage, yeah. And so look at it, and I was like, Samsonite. So it was Mary Samsonite. And so we get on the internet, Alta Vista search. There's a Mary Samsonite that lives in Aspen. So we decided to take a road trip. Are you guys picking up at all on what I'm saying here?
This is the plot of Dumb and Dumber.
It is.
Oh my gosh. What are you talking about, Brian?
I'm trying to pull one like your friend of the Office Space thing.
Yeah. All right, that's all I had.
You're just full of jokes today.
This is what happens when I have time to prep.
That's what happens when he has 32 ounces of Rockstar before it's 3 o'clock.
No kidding.
It's 4:25 in Arizona. Excuse me.
How about you, Chris?
I've helped a number of people in car trouble, and it just happened to be I was passing by or something like there. I remember one time I was at my apartment back when I was apartment living, and some guy looked like really lost, and it looked like he was in a jam. He had his hood up, so I just walked over there and I said, "Hey, what's up, man? Need help or something?" He's like, "Yeah, my battery's dead, and I'm late to go pick up my kid," or it was something like that. And I said, "Oh, well, I have a jumper, one of those battery powered jumpers in my house. I'll come grab it and I'll jumpstart you." And just did that, got him on his way. I've seen, there's like a jogging area. There's a specific route I jog in my neighborhood, and I know exactly how long it is. And I found like two women with a flat tire on the side, and they looked really confused about how to change the tire. So I'm like, all right, well, I just asked them, "Do you need help?" And I was able to help them change out the tire and get them on their way. So just like you said, Glenn, pay it forward. If I was in a jam or someone I loved was in a jam, I would hope somebody would come by and help get them out.
So back in July or August, my wife called me when I was in, I think, St. Louis. She's like, "Hey, I need your help. Our friend broke down on the side of the freeway. I need you to do something." I'm like, "Oh, all right. You want me to fly back?" I'm like, "Geez, leave me alone." And she's like, "Well, no. Like, I caught up to her. We're on the freeway. She has like a flat tire. She doesn't have a spare, yada, yada. Like, we don't have to change it." I was like, "Well, I can send a tow truck." I was like, "But there's no way in hell the people of Arizona drive by two women, especially a woman or a person that looks like my wife, right?" I'm like, "There's like damsel in distress." I'm like,
Yeah.
I guarantee by the time the tow truck gets over there, they're going to be like a line of vehicles waiting to stop to change your tire. Turns out I was wrong. Arizona people don't screw around when it's 120 degrees outside. They're like, "Nah, let her melt. She'll be fine."
Peace out.
See, that's what you get. No one helps your wife because you don't want to pay it forward, so it's karma on you.
Exactly. So we ended up sending a tow truck, and they came over there and changed the tire for like $50. So.
Yeah, there's a similar story. I'll decide whether or not I keep it in or I cut this out. But I can't remember if I know I've alluded to it on the podcast. You tell me if I've told it before. But one time my wife, I didn't know her at the time, but she told me this story. So my wife was driving home from college with two of her friends, and they're youngish college co-eds. So you can put two and two together. And same thing happens to them. They get a flat tire. They pull off the side of the road. It's a major freeway. And they know how to change a tire, but they had a trunk full of stuff. So they start unpacking the trunk. They pull it to the side of the road, and it was like late spring or early summer. So they're wearing shorts and other such clothes. And then all of a sudden, like a traffic jam starts to form, and the cars are like slowing down and almost to a stop. And then a little while later, a CHP, a California Highway Patrolman, comes up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna help you change your tire because you guys are causing such a distraction. You're causing a traffic jam, and I need you guys to get out of here as soon as possible." So the CHP helped them change the tire and got them on their way.
I can see how that could work.
So what you're saying is you have the hot wife, not Brian.
Apparently, I don't know.
Well, none of my kids' friends have called her the hot mom, or I haven't been the hot dad yet, but I'm waiting for that day to happen.
It's coming.
All right, well, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week. This week, Glenn is up.
All right, guys. I've been going to a personal trainer, right? But I was just done. So I gave him my 2-week notice. Get it?
WEAK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Wah, wah, wah.
I could see it. Just kidding, man.
Oh, it's on now.
Brian throwing shade.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, to wrap things up, ChatGPT is on a course to overtake Google search. Sugar-free Red Bull for life. Don't bill for time you didn't actually work. There's no love lost for the hacked Russian dark market. China is gaining more influence in tech than they should have. And don't promise money you aren't able to pay back. That's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rated us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. For my co-hosts Brian Deitch and Glenn Medina, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, guys. Hi, Felicia.